Hello and good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio. Tonight you've been joined by myself, GB, young Robert, and JM, and this is a welcome to the Tuesday Club. How we doing, boys?
Evening, GB. Evening, JM. Very well, mate. A great weekend.
Yeah, evening, guys. Very good indeed. What a week. Nearly a week now, isn't it? Nearly a week. 5 days or so. What a week it's been.
It's been a very fast week, mate. Very fast. Robert, you kind of hit the nail on the head a wee bit, mate. Just how happy it's been. Sunday was one of the days where I've never known a League Cup to be so important, mate.
No, the way I put it was a relief. Getting the trophy back home, the performance, the result. It kind of epitomised the week for us. Obviously, from previous games, winning when others were losing points, the European game, and then to top off a trophy, it just summed it up. And as JM says, like a great week, and I don't know if there's been a bigger week for our club in the most recent future, or past even.
Aye, JM, you're saying about the week, but from what I was hearing, that you were there at the game, and what was the kind of overall feeling during the game, and obviously at the end of the game? Was it relief or was it jubilation?
A mixture of both. I think some serious relief in there at some aspects, because I don't think it's a secret. It wasn't a great game, was it? I think at the start there's some real excitement in the air, because obviously the bounce from Thursday and the other results at the weekend, we started the game really well. And then at the end, in that relief, I've not seen celebrations like that in a long time. And to, like Robert said, I think that's for a League Cup that used to be the norm. I just think that just shows the real importance of it. And I think since what's happened, I don't think Rangers supporters are going to take many trophies for granted ever again, to be honest. That was some great celebrations at the end.
I like how you brought that in there with the celebrations that we're actually got to hear for our manager now that the kind of dust and celebrations has settled a bit. We'll hear our part one of our manager's thoughts from the weekend.
Philippe, how were the celebrations after Sunday?
Good, but in a controlled way. So it was interesting to see also. But that's good to see also that the players didn't forget there's a game on Wednesday also. They enjoyed. It was really fun for me also to see them in that way, to see them with their families also. And that was the first time. So no, it was really good evening.
You looked like you enjoyed having the trophy in front of the fans back at Ibrox. How special was that moment for you?
Yeah, very special. Every trophy is really important, and after your career, the moment you stop, you always remember those moments. It's the same as in my playing career. You remember the teammates that you played when you became champion, or you win cups. You remember these evenings, the things that happened later on. Those are the memories after a career, not the games in between. It's those moments, so you need to grab them also.
I suppose the hope is that your teammate takes confidence and belief from that and carries on. Have you seen that already? But back in training, what's the mood been like?
It's a strange question, because I have had this question already a few times last couple of days. If this team doesn't have belief, they wouldn't have done those things last week. So the belief is there. There's no doubt about that. But it's about giving confirmation every time and keeping that belief and keeping our standards and raising our standards and being ambitious and being hungry. It's about that. But without belief, you cannot win in Betis and you cannot win this cup final. So belief was there. We didn't need a cup final for that.
What's your message been to the players in terms of what comes next?
That we step back in our marathon. So we had these 2 sprints last week. And we step back in our marathon, and it's about seeing now who's sharp, who's good. Also to see it's five games in really short time. So it's impossible to do the 5 games with the same players, and to make the right choices, and that the players show themselves towards me, towards my staff, that they are ready to play.
You talk about that marathon, Philippe, but how big an opportunity is this on Wednesday for the first time to cut the lead to 2 points? I know it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's the same opportunity as 1 week ago, as 9 weeks ago, as it will be in 9 weeks or 10 weeks. It's the same. It's about 3 points. There's no difference in that. So it's one of these 38 games that you can get 3 points. And yeah, we just want to keep our rhythm that we are having. And we want to be there again, like we will have to be there in the weekend. And we know in this marathon there will be one moment that it will not be the case, and you guys will be the first one to say, oh, they stop now with their rhythm. Will not be the case also with the mentality that's here now. No, we just continue what we've been doing the last weeks and go forward with that.
You talk about the mentality of your team. You spoke about that after the cup final. The fact you had to go away to Seville, massive game, win that. Another massive game, win again at the weekend. How do you get your players up for this? How confident are you that their mentality can stay right at the top coming into Wednesday?
I think it's a logical thing. When I came into the building, the confidence was not there. But I saw what I saw in the games and the first days in training. I think every experience makes you stronger. The strongest teams I played in were teams that were 2-3 years together. And those were teams who had a lot of experience together. Good, but also bad, because you not only become stronger out of good experiences, also out of bad experience if you take the right conclusions together. So every experience with this group will make it stronger. And of course, winning in Seville, winning a cup, winning the first silverware, proving a lot of things that had been said not so long time ago about these players, that it was not wrong, that it was wrong. So they need to continue doing that and keeping this hunger. If they keep the hunger, if they keep the collectivity also, if they keep this solidarity that it's not important to start or not to start, that they understand that story, and it's not about them, but about the team, then we're going to make an amazing season. I'm confident about that. The moment players start to think about themselves and putting themselves out of the collective, it will be more difficult. But then we're going to speak with them. It's going to happen. I'm not naive. And I know if there's success, there are also a lot of people around the players who are influential or try to become influential more and more. So yeah, then we have to make it clear that it's about the collective, and if the collective is good, then the individual is also good, because it works like that in a team sport.
Philippe, given the amount of games you've got, are you with a view to try and change your team for this game tomorrow night? Change personnel?
I've changed every game until now, I think. I don't think I played 2 games with the same team until now. And to be honest, I don't know. I think it's the case until now. I will see what's necessary for this game, and also thinking for the games ahead. That's my job also, not only to look short term, but also long term. What's necessary for the team, for the squad, for the dynamic, for everything, and to win games and to play good football. So that's my responsibility.
Do you have any players that might return for tomorrow?
No players who are not available for the cup final. There are no other players coming back now.
Do you have a time scale yet for Jose Cifuentes?
No, I don't have a time scale, but a few days ago we thought it was worse. Now we get a good reaction after rehab, so I hope it can be that he can be back before the winter break, let's say.
And Ryan Jack?
And Ryan Jack, that we will see if it's before the winter break or not. That's really tight.
Is Kemal Riff ready to start games?
He's not ready to play 90 minutes, so then it's my choice to make if he starts or he not starts, but not for 90 minutes.
Philippe, is it fair to say that things could not conceivably have gone any better for you since you arrived here?
No, because we lost some points along the way, so it could have been better.
So winning a trophy, winning your Europa League group?
Yeah, no, I'm happy. Yeah, let's be clear about that. No, I'm happy. I'm most happy because the players, and that needs to be important. It's the players. They made a big change. I see a totally different dressing room than 2 months ago. In everything, in energy, in belief, in communication, in fighting spirit. So I'm really happy about that because it's really short term to change these things, and there's not one manager in the world who knows how fast things can go, because it's about reaction of other people, how they react to the story. I know what we want to do with them, that if they step in a good way into it, that it works, that I know. But it's about the players, they have to do it. And all group has done it. I don't have one player in this dressing room who's not into that story and who's not ready for the team for the moment. So that I want to keep as long as possible. And the guys who get difficulty with that, they put themselves out of the story. So I'm really satisfied about that for the moment. And if you do those things and you have enough talent, then you get results. It works that way.
You talked about having an amazing season if the players keep the hunger, keep the focus, keep together. What constitutes an amazing season? Being champions?
I'm not thinking about that because that depends also how many points other teams take. So we need to be on our toes every day to get the best out of ourselves. So we will see at the end of the road what the result will be then. And you have also the game of football is also a game where the factor luck is also sometimes determined in things. I said it already one time in different in other sports like basketball or volleyball, these kind of sports where you score a lot of points, the factor luck is less determined than in football, where the result is sometimes 1 or 2 goals, and that makes the difference of winning things or not. So in that way, you can do a lot of things really good and perform really well. And maybe somebody else has a little bit more luck and they win a trophy because of that. So we need to focus on the things we can control. So control the controllable. That's our job. And that's what we're going to do until the end of the season.
Philippe, how impressed have you been with Dujon, the way he's just stepped in when he's been asked to step up?
Impressed is maybe not a good word, because then you didn't have that belief before. I think my English is not that good to go that much into detail about words. No, I expected from him what I saw in the training, and I told the club already that he's going to become a really important player for the future.
Well, thanks for that, Fox. I'd say he just handles the press so well, and we will come back to what he's just mentioned there. I just want to kind of get your overall view of Sunday. It wasn't, as JM says, a fantastic spectacle, but from what Falcon wants put into the squad, it was a team out there, a team that wanted to go out and win that game, and ultimately the quality showed through with our captain putting the ball away and getting the winner right on for me, the perfect time. I mean, that's 76 minutes for the goal, but kind of when you're scoring around about that time, it's very hard for our team to get back into the game. JM, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, timing the goal's good. Also, it gets nervy if the same way like they concede. If we concede a goal at that time, you're running out of time to get back into the game. It gets difficult, doesn't it? But yeah, I was just really impressed, like you said, different ways of it. I didn't think the game didn't have much quality in it. The pitch conditions really windy out there, different things. They were getting away with fouls. I mean, the tone was set for the first couple of minutes. I don't know how obvious it would have been on the telly, to be honest, but where I was in the North End, you could tell Desta's got fouled twice in the first 30 seconds. Ball in the air, arms in the back, clear, just 2 clear, obvious pushes in the back. Nothing too violent about them, but they were clear as day. And the ref wasn't giving them. And we're just like, that sets the tone, and then the tone continues. And then Shinnie gets allowed to get what Shinnie gets allowed to do to make dozens of fouls a game against us and not pick up a book until deep into the second half. But what I loved is that our team didn't get bullied one bit. And even though it wasn't a day for our quality to shine through, you know, the pride and togetherness shine through, and the fact that, you know, Aberdeen set out to try and bully us and dominate the game that way, and they got nowhere near us like that either.
Robert, I mean, there's got to be times you're playing an opposition, they're going to have chances and stuff like that, so not every player's going to have the absolute perfect game. But what I would say is every player done their job on Sunday for me, from keeper right through the team, right up to the strikers. Again, Dessers could be open to some criticism, but at the end of the day, from what the manager's saying, he put in a hard working performance, done the job, and that's what we kind of look at them. Maybe some surpassed themselves, like say Sterling and stuff like that. Tav obviously stepping up with the goal, but again, for me, it just shows you, Clement's got a team effort there. It's not about the striker having to score the goals all the time. It's just about the team getting there the line.
That's exactly it, mate. We're not relying on a sole performer anymore. As much as you could say in the past, we have relied on a striker, whether it had been Alfie in the past or a kind of creativity player. We didn't need that on Sunday. It was a full team performance, as you said, and despite Butland not having too much to do, because Aberdeen didn't have a shot on target, when he was called upon from crosses, whether it be corners, he was commanding. Defence were comfortable bringing the ball out. In the midfield, Lundstrom and Sterling combined really well at times, and it's an interesting partnership going forward. I think that it's food for thought for Clement with Sterling in that position, especially for late in that area of the park. And again, as James said, the quality up front, it wasn't there, but we didn't force it, especially as the game went on. We didn't get to the last 10 minutes and try and do the long, hopeful balls and put balls into the box just for the sake of it. It was all kind of patient and calm, and it kind of looked like the players believed the goal was coming, and it just was a matter of time. And as you've touched on there, the time of the goal, it does make it great for us, because then Aberdeen need to kind of force themselves upon us in a bit, and again, it didn't trouble us at all. So a great team performance that at the end of the day, you've come away with a 1-0 win, you've got the trophy, and the old saying is the job is done. Could it have been a better spectacle? Of course it could have, but at the end of the day, we take the trophy, we get the performance, and as I said, it was a tough week for the players, and they've been a credit to themselves and the club as well for achieving what they did in Europe, first of all on the Thursday night, and then carrying that on into the Sunday as well, because there'll be a lot of tired legs, I'd imagine, there. So to put in a performance to get the result, that's all that kind of matters at the end of the day, mate.
Well said, mate. Well said. I think the other thing as well that I liked, and as you touched on it with Shinnie and stuff like that, there was heavy tackles going about the pitch, and but our discipline under Clement's been really, really good. It would be easy for us to get dragged into a game where we're probably getting a guy sent off, and especially near the end, that moment with Duke, you know that. I mean, it could have been one of the moments where a couple of players get sent off, but they kept the heat. You know what I mean? I know there was yellow cards going out and stuff like that, but there wasn't any violent conduct for our side of things and stuff like that. So I was just pleased that we've seen out the game, and in times gone by, I think the gang last night touched on it, that we've played brilliant in finals and got no reward for it. But yet at the weekend there, we kind of grinded out the result and got the trophy, and that's all that matters. It's winning that matters.
Oh, I'd take that performance and that result in the final every day of the week. I remember would that been 3-4 years ago now, when we played them off the park, but didn't come away with anything, so no one remembers that one, did they? No, it was impressive, to be fair. I mean, obviously there was a cheap Lundstrom picked up a cheap booking. Obviously, I think that was just a combination of getting frustrated with shitty stuff, having a go at the ref after McCausland tapped it in. I think live you couldn't really notice it, but I think on reflection from the replay, probably was a foul and McCausland tapped it in, but that was a cheap picking the book up and sort of maybe affected him just for the rest of the first half. Second half he was fine, but then to be honest, I was really impressed with how Tom Cantwell handled himself, because It's obvious he gets targeted. I mean, Shinnie stuck one on the back of him earlier. That was clear as day. He wasn't trying to play the ball. And then twice he was hacked down running into the box, on the edge of the box. And I don't even think the second one got a yellow card. He was running in I think it would have been the right-hand side of their box, running in, maybe looking to play a 1-2, whatever, only 20 yards out. The bloke just hacked him from the side about ankle height. Ref didn't even give a booking. And you think it'd be really easy for these players to start kicking off a mouth and get a booking, but no, fair play to him starting to realise it. Maybe it's the manager, or maybe they're realising they're not going to get much in Scottish football, but there's definitely been an improvement on it.
Robert, I mean, for me, if that's the way the referee wants to play the game, then he's got to keep it consistent. I mean, if your players started flying in with some of the challenges, I'd be certain that there'll be, like I says, yellow cards getting pulled out left, right and centre. And that's the fear, isn't it? Like, if we get drawn into that kind of game, and I says, for me, it was, I know Cantwell had the kind of the shot pull in the box and stuff like that, but I don't know. See, the thing is, the way it's gone now, if it was going to be one of the moments that VAR would have looked at, 100% have been Tappy Rangers, because, like I say, Aberdeen and the rest of the SPFL have moaned about it long enough that we are getting the, as I say, the rub of the blue, but for me, like I say, I think the team was, overall, their discipline, their will to win was good enough for me at the weekend.
Yeah, it certainly was, and that kind of melee near the end when everybody's in the goal, the cluster of bodies. You see Jack Butland just standing there holding the ball, calmness, and then the camera from the TV pans round to Clement, and he's just telling him to calm and pointing to his head, think, be smart. You're minutes away from winning this cup. That could have easily blown over. Another manager could have been going off in one, shouting for cards left, right, and centre. I know he did get a bit animated when I think it was a Miofsky or Scola left one on Balogun near the touchline. He did seem a bit animated at that, about the foul. Again, nothing done, but as you say, the minute the referee allows one or two tackles to go, he needs to let that continue. And it wasn't a final that was overshadowed by a refereeing performance or refereeing decision, despite the heavy tackles. You mentioned the Cantwell one with the shot pull in the box. I think had the ball been closer to that player and he was possibly going to get it, it may have been looked at further. Certainly if it was the other way around, we'd be asking for it. So had it have been a moment that influenced the game, you would say it'd be silly from Cantwell to shot pull, because we know you can't get away with that anymore. Shot pulling happens across the park. It's a contact sport. You give a pull in the jersey, they're going to go down. Sterling also get a boy pulled back as well, and the referee gave a goal kick for it. Again, that could have been a free kick in a dangerous area. So the referee kind of set the tone, as James said, from the first kind of minute when Dessers was getting fouled. But to not react to any of those tackles was pleasing to see, when previously they could have been a bit animated. I know they were asking for the yellow cards to come out, but the referee obviously felt it didn't need it, or the game didn't want to kind of spiral out of control by booking one player and having to keep that consistency going with bookings. So at the end of the day, we don't want to be talking about the referees or the decisions. So if our players can keep themselves out of trouble by their mentality and their behaviour, great. We focus on our performance, as the manager said in the press conference. We focus on ourselves and we just play the game.
No, I agree, mate. Jamie, I think the team are quick learners as well. I think they took learnings from the Thursday night game with how to see out a game, especially Big Seamer. I mean, some of it, like I says, his tackling near the end and stuff like that to stop Aberdeen, and a lot of time when he was breaking up the park and stuff like that, he was more running into the corner, and like I says, I think it was was it? Maybe it was Cantwell. Maybe near the end, like they took the ball into the corner a lot of the time. They're trying to hit it after Aberdeen players. It was like a kind of runny shies constantly down their end and stuff like that. So again, it just shows you that like they're learning all the time, and all it is improvement. And if they keep improving, then again, like the manager's saying, there's evidence there to show them that they're going to win trophies. They're going to win silverware.
Yeah, I think. Without being unfair on the players, because obviously we won both games up there, I think if you give Bettis a 4 or 5 out of 10 for decision making, trying to see the game out with a few rash shots, and they obviously Seamer cutting in for the one we could have taken. If that was a 5, I reckon that for seeing out a game was maybe a 6 to a 7. It was definitely better they sat, but I think the manager even said, I think a few times at the end, especially at the edge of the box, we had plenty of time and we just sort of hoofed it back to their goalkeeper to see it again. And then there was a time, to be fair, Sterling was a little bit unlucky. Roof had made the option for like an inside pass when Sterling was through, but at the time of the match, and especially if the pace that Sterling's got and no one's going to catch him, you just want to see him running that into the corner and out the way. So it was definitely better than an improvement. And the fact that every time they pumped the ball in the air, Aberdeen, they never won it. It was always Balogun or Goldson, or we were there to pick up the second ball. So that was impressive. So there was definitely improvements, but I think, as Clement said, I thought we could have just maybe been a little bit calmer at times. But I agree with Seamer and his work rate. I mean, that what was that, on about 85, 86 minutes? That they've just brought a fresh winger. They've just brought a fresh winger on to try and get a Barisic, and Seamer must make 10 yards on the bloke. And he's been running around, not only running around, but running around for 90 odd minutes in Betis a few days before as well. And then comes on to catch him. I mean, that was incredible. That was almost as big as Raw for that as there was the goal.
And to beat him with pace as well, Seamer, wasn't it, at that point in time? I mean, it's that boy.
Not only made a tackle, because, like, you know, a footballer might think, I've done my bit, I've ran back and tackled. He got back up and then ran round the boy and nicked it off him again. Like, it's just the fight that he's got. It's unbelievable, isn't it? From a lone player, especially.
Well, that's what I was going to say, mate. And just for the fighting desire for a boy that's is up here on loan, it just shows you that he's caught the bug. And it seems to me, for what I'm seeing, he's enjoying playing under this manager as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to me, I think even before when Beale was there, I think he was nicking a few goals, wasn't he? He was kind of, if you like, the only one that was maybe one of the few at Butland that might have been getting just around pass marks. But he's definitely kicked on, and you can tell he's enjoying the vibe. And I mean, who wouldn't enjoy it? I mean, it's only December. Who gets a week? What other clubs do you get a week like we've just had in December? It's incredible.
Robert, you happy with the man of the match, Sterling? Anybody else in the team that kind of stood out for you, mate?
I'd been happy if I gave it to Sterling, obviously, and then obviously Lundstram as well. I thought he had a pretty good game as well overall. As you said, there wasn't really the great quality final where, excuse me, that somebody grabbed the headlines. Obviously, Tav with his goal, I think he get the Rangers TV one for his getting forward, and his goal obviously would kind of nix it for him that way. But no, I was quite happy with Sterling. Again, it's a player who's been on the sides looking in and playing a position that he's not probably used to as much. Certainly, we know him as a right back or left back and can play centre back, but to come in and play that position, and it didn't look out of place as well with Lundstram. As I said, they had a kind of good chemistry and connection. And the power he's got, the speed across the ground was incredible. So, no, I'm quite pleased with Sterling, and I think he as well. He spoke after about that feeling, and that was his first trophy in his professional football career. So, when he'll certainly remember, and a man of match to go on top of it's a good day all round for him.
Aye, a brilliant day. Well, this is a phone-in show. There's a lot to talk about. I think there was a thing as well the day that was released by the club about the Old Firm game coming up as well. So it'll be good to hear from you. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
We will come back to the game, but Robert, have you got that statement handy, mate, to read out?
I certainly do. I know we don't want to be statement FC, as John Bennett said, but I think this is quite a vital statement that was put out today regarding the Old Firm fixture on the 5th of December. So the statement says, despite winning a case put to an SPFL board subcommittee, Rangers FC, with extreme disappointment, will not have any supporters present at Parkhead for the Old Firm match on December 30th. The subcommittee agreed with Rangers that Celtic FC's stance on providing 0 tickets to Rangers fans was unreasonable. Despite the fact that the subcommittee agreed with Rangers, the subcommittee was unwilling to determine what a reasonable number of tickets for the fixture would be. The subcommittee was unable to determine this reasonable number due to the fact that the other party had not submitted enough evidence on this issue, despite having ample opportunity to do so in the weeks and months leading up to the hearing. Rangers' position has always been clear. We want away fans from all clubs at our stadium and wish that to be reciprocated when we travel to other clubs' grounds. This decision calls into question the effectiveness and highlights the procedural defects of SPFL Rule I-27. To Rangers, it is grossly unfair that if a club, in this case Celtic, fails to submit sufficient evidence as part of such proceedings, it effectively ties the hands of a subcommittee in being able to determine what a reasonable number of tickets should be, especially when the subcommittee agrees that the reasonable number cannot be 0. Conversely, if a club, in this case Rangers, complies fully and provides all necessary information in good faith, it can still be penalised. The club will consider its position before participating in any further SPFL-led hearings. Rangers, alongside several other SPFL clubs, also looks forward to the overdue findings of the ongoing, protracted SPFL governance review. Rangers will be making no further comment at this time.
Well done, mate. Well done. Jim, just quickly your thoughts on that, mate. We'll not dwell on it too much because it is what it is, and let's say the club are making no further statement on it. But your thoughts overall on that, mate?
I think if anything, it just sums up how I know they maybe said it can't be blamed, but how Scottish football's been being run for the last how many years. We had one of the biggest spectacles in world football. People to go on and watch it, and for whatever reasons, I think you could dive into their fault, our fault, whatever, however it goes. Both sides have obviously maybe played their part, but we've even made one of the biggest fixtures in the world not even a spectacle to watch on the telly. It just takes away again maybe the biggest asset that the SPL has is the Old Firm, and we've taken away that spectacle to watch on the TV because there's absolutely no doubt it's not the same game without away fans. It's just not. Anyone who thinks it is are kidding themselves on. So it's sad, but I also don't think it's going to be anything that's going to be rectified in the near future. I think, unfortunately, unless something dramatic happens, it's unfortunately going to become the norm and ruin the fixture for both set of fans.
One thing, Robert, I think from what we're hearing with the manager's press conference today is that see something like that if our manager's getting told that says there'll be no away fans and you're just going to have to go there and suck it up, I think our manager will relish that. I think come the time when he starts to focus on that game, he's going to have our players right fired up, and mentality-wise, I've got no worries there. Robert?
No, certainly not. I don't think he'll dwell on that as a factor of no fans. He'll expect the players to go out and perform as well, and it probably gives him that more kind of hunger that he's talking about to go and do it on their own patch in front of their own fans. Now, they're claiming about it being safety concerns. I don't know how safety you can be when your own fans are throwing barriers at you and your manager and everything else, but it's certainly going to add fire to the debate, and it's going to rumble on, in my opinion, for seasons to come. I don't see it being a quick fix anytime soon. You can say that it can be addressed by having a percentage, but if you take 5% at Ibrox for them, they get 2,000. If we get 5%, we'll get 3,000 at Parkhead. So that's an argument that they'll say that we're having more fans because of the stadium capacity. It's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. But as the manager says, the focus is on the football, is on the players. And if the fans aren't in there, then we'll make hella noise outside it, that's for sure.
I agree. Right, we'll park that anyway. That's if any of our callers want to phone in and talk about it, then they're more than welcome. But that's as we've read the statement and we've gave our kind of thoughts on that. Just to finish up on Sunday then, lads, JM, you said you were at the game. A good day all round then, mate. I take it you enjoyed the celebrations, the players walking around the park, and big Clement, man. He was writing about the Union Bears and everything. Loved it. And it was good to see that for the manager.
Yeah, it's good to see him let himself go. And obviously, he talked about it in his presser as well, didn't he? Obviously, think he's deliberate in everything he does, and like he said, he's quite made the point. It's the first time he's got to see the players with his families and that celebrate, and he says he likes seeing that side of the players, seeing them celebrate, but also I can imagine he's like the teacher watching behind maybe and just seeing how everybody was acting, and it sounds like he was satisfied with how all the players celebrated, knowing that we had a game in a few days' time as well. So no, that was good to see and hear, because you've heard stories in past about teams winning cups and leagues and maybe having a few days too many to celebrate. We've had some in our recent history as well, where maybe we over celebrated and it could have cost us in a tie.
Do you think, JM, that I might be reading into this too much, but see the likes of the manager, do you think that he was relieved, not so much for himself, but for the players, that we won? I wonder if the kind of the celebration and stuff like that you seen for the manager was a bit of relief for the whole squad, in the sense that the moment happened. I think he wanted it so much, like, to come, if you mean, rather than it to be a disappointment. I think just for his body language and how he was talking and stuff like that, I think he really wanted it for the squad, because he knew if he could get that win, it might have. Hopefully, it is going to kick his own. Yeah,
I think so. He made it pretty clear in the press conference leading. It wasn't about him; it was about the team. Whatever, obviously, the right things to say, and but I genuinely believe it when he says it. And like he says, there's going to be bumps and games at a time, whatever. But I think he knows if we're to kick on and keep going, that winning that was a big part of it on Sunday, because it's given maybe some of our longer serving players that haven't had much luck in the cups. They've won that one now. They can tick that off their list. They can be seen as winners, and it's also given the new players a taste of what it could be like. So it gives both sets of players, if you like, the new players and the longer serving players, a bit more motivation.
Robert, again, your thoughts, mate? This full time, I seen not just the players, I seen all the staff and all that coming in for photographs. So it seems to be a well-run unit now that Clermont's got. Like I say, all the backroom team, all the press, Rangers press. I don't even know what the name of them are, but the lasses that did interviews and stuff like that, they were all in the photographs and everything as well, and all the families were on the pitch and stuff like that. And like I says at the start of the show, that the League Cups in times gone by were important, but I wouldn't say there was a big onus on it. Whereas that one on Sunday just felt massive.
It was a sense of togetherness, and I think that's what, when Clermont came in, the confidence was low. There was a lack of communication. You heard him saying the confidence there. There wasn't a kind of a gel between fans and players, backroom staff, whatever it may be. Now it is a big squad collective, as you say, and that squad isn't just the players in the park, that is the backroom staff, the media, the physios, the fitness, whatever it may be, or the ones at the training ground. It's all a big clog in the work. So he talks about the marathon and he's had 2 sprints. He's got that. He's got the sense of relief as well. And I think when he's been celebrating, for him, it's a pride that his message is going across and it's working. 14 games in, unbeaten. He's still not very happy because we've qualified from Europe, top of the group. We've got the cup, but we've dropped points. And that mentality is going to continue throughout the season. And I think it was a relief for him that this team, from what he saw in that dressing room when he walked in, were able to do something within the space of 3 or 4 days that supporters didn't believe. And I think that's what's restored. Relief with the trophy coming home. The start of a potential treble or quadruple, if you include Europe. He wants to win it all. So from before, we thought, no, the League Cup's probably the least of the 3 cups here in Scotland domestically. But it's the first one, and once that first one's in, you want the taste for more. And as you said, Jim said, the new players getting that taste early on in their careers when some have been under pressure. Dessers, Lammers, they've got medals now. That's what you've kept the club for, to get trophies, winners' medals, and kick on. And that, something I said previously in our show, was this is phase 1, and he'll be happy with this phase 1 with a trophy in a bag, absolutely. And the players should be really proud of themselves. And us as supporters are getting a sense of pride and belief back as well.
Brilliant, mate. No, well said. Jai, just a question. I'm going to put it out to obviously a wee poll. Get old school Blue busy in the background there with a wee poll for me. That was the kind of last trophy that hadn't been back to Ibrox in a long time, and that's it now there and won. And that says the manager nearly flung it out Edmondson Windy at the weekend. But just a kind of question to both of you. I'll go to you first, Jai. We would say that that's the journey complete. We've won 55. We've been to a European final. We've won the Scottish Cup, and then we've won the League Cup. Do you think that's the journey complete now?
No, I don't. Not until we've had at least 2 or 3 of them in our trophy room for a couple of seasons in a row. Not until we've sort of put our stamp back. I think it's obviously a landmark, that's it. We've won that one, that's it. But until we've shown a relative consistency of dominance, I don't think that's quite back yet. I wouldn't say that is journey complete until we've shown some real dominance in the domestic front.
Right, well said, mate. Robert, mate, again, just the kind of same question. The journey's been mentioned a few times. Like, actually, the journey back was getting back challenging at first, and then eventually it was winning 55, and then the next minute we rock up with a European final, and then we get the Scottish Cup at the back of that, and then there the weekend we get the League Cup, and a lot of people would say that that's finally Rangers back since we've been able to collect all the trophies at some point in this kind of journey that we've been on. So for you, is that the journey back finished, yes or no?
No, and my reason is that for us as Rangers Football Club and supporters, the journey should never end. It should continue, and the journey will always change. And as you said, at first the journey was getting back to the Premier League, done it. Next it was winning the league, done it. There's always a next chapter in the journey. The book should never close. So for now, yes, we've got the League Cup, but as JM says, we need to add more to that, more dominance in domestic competitions, winning the trophies, whether that be doubles, trebles, more so trebles hopefully, and then also in Europe as well. I know Europa League's probably where we would say we're at the minute, but if we can get into the Champions League group stages, get some finances, you never know what happens in football, especially European games. We've beat big teams before, so if we can have some sort of dominance in our standard in the Champions League, then that again is another chapter. So the journey for me will never end.
Well said, mate. So, like I say, so Old School Blues got to be busy in the background there. He's got to put up the poll for these. Is the journey completed? Yes or no? And like I say, we'll let you know the results of that soon enough. All right. JM and Robert, that's us. I would say kind of closed off Sunday. Quite happy at that. Happy with the celebrations. Happy that the team kind of got that kind of bottlers off their back kind of tag that they've had, and now they can just push on to, like the manager says, refocusing. Tomorrow's a massive game against St Johnstone at home, and again that's us. We can start now focusing back on the league a wee bit, because like I says, tomorrow night it's going to be a vital 3 points to kind of keep clawing that deficit back here. Go to Robert first.
Yeah, it certainly is, mate. And you could see that even after the Betis game on Thursday night, they were talking to Roof after it, and his focus was right away on Sunday. He spoke to Dessers on Sunday, and his focus was right away on Wednesday. So the players are extremely focused by the sounds of it, and they're delivering so far in the performances the last 2 games especially. So again, a big game at home, as you said. You want the momentum to continue. You're quite happy that these games are coming around thick and fast, let's be honest, rather than having to wait a week as well, and it kind of calms down. You just keep it going. It rolls over to the next one. And as I said, it is a big game. St Johnstone obviously get the new manager in Craig Levein. they have won 2 and drew 1 of the last 3, so it'll be a stuffy game that they'll set up the low block, and we just need to kind of have that performance and cut an edge to get the 3 points, and as you say, it narrows the gap down even further.
And I think like the Mora as well, like it's great winning the trophy, the feel good factors there, but it's so important that we go out and we keep the momentum going. We've got to make sure we get the 3 points tomorrow, because again, I think that will just even drive even more confidence in the squad, especially with what's happened the weekend and obviously in Europe as well. It says if we get these 3 points back and it closes, it says how that league table's looking. It just gives that, I think all the players, even with been weakened with injuries and stuff like that, I just think it's got to be a massive momentum shift for us.
100%, and you could argue in some ways it's as big a test mentally as the last 2 games have been, obviously for different reasons. But I think obviously the big criticism over Gio was that the players could get motivated and we could play well in Europe against, we could beat Dortmund, we could beat these other teams, but then we can't beat Motherwell at Ibrox. Whereas now it's about, we've had a great result away in Betis, we've won a cup final, but now you've got to do the dirty work and beat St Johnstone at home. It's not the glamour tie, it's not the exciting, but it's essential, isn't it? It's necessary to go and win that game. And as Clement says, it's 3 more points out of the 38 games we play. So it's just as important, and it's actually maybe a bigger test to see how far these players have come, because they need to be able to just get straight back onto league business and get the win.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Robert, as Jai was touching on there, probably the same biggest test that they've had so far this season is going out and trying to grab these 3 points, because this is the game in hand. I mean, this is the one that we really do need to get the points.
It certainly is, and every game from now on until the end of the season is always going to be important, and that has always been the message in the past, but none more so than this one tomorrow night, especially at home on the back of what has been a great week for us. So again, it's all the focus needs to be down to earth. This is league business, this is the bread and butter. We've got the cup, that's fine. We've got Europe, that's fine, but that's in the past. We need to focus on the game in hand, as you said, and that it's probably a crucial game that it's at home. I think if it's an away fixture, you look at it and you go, it could be a bit tough midweek away to a team, as I said, they're unbeaten in the last 3. And St Johnstone, they're quite kind of hard to break down at times. They're quite stuffy defensively. So being at home, you need to grasp it. And personally, I'd like to see a few goals go in. Would it be 3 or 4-0? Whether we get that, I don't know. But at the end of the day, right now, 3 points is all that matters, and it's crucial that we get them, especially with the game in hand. If we don't, and it's a draw, it becomes a blip in the marathon, as Clement talks about, and they said there will be blips, but hopefully it's not too soon, and we can keep this momentum going and capitalise on dropped points by others, but the focus is firmly on ourselves to get these 3 points tomorrow night.
Jai, did you get from the press conference that he's maybe thinking of making some changes for tomorrow? For me, I would just really play the same team and just go again, but I kind of get the gist from him that he's maybe wanting to maybe just change out a couple of players and give some a rest.
I genuinely think, and I think he said that, I think he did, well, when he done the press conference, I don't think he knew. I think he's maybe still waiting for certain players to recover, and then he'll have a think. Obviously, with the players out and whatnot, and the ones that are fit and ready to play, there isn't much scope to make too many changes. I think if you're being honest, most players looked like they were still fit at the end of the game. Ross McCausland, to be honest, ran out of a bit of gas at the end, which is obviously why the change was made. There was one with Butland threw in the ball, and it might have been a little bit in front of him, but he looked a tired lad trying to chase the ball. So he might, if Scott Wright's maybe got an hour in him, he might try and offload Ross a little bit. But I don't think we'll see too many changes. And like you say, I don't think he'll want to make many either. He'll just want to keep this good run going.
Robert, your thoughts, bud? Do you think there'll be many changes, or does he just let them go again? I think it's at home. It's against St Johnstone. For me, I would say, like Jai saying, if anything, you put maybe Scott Wright in and give him an hour. Maybe Rabbi Matondo gets a wee kind of a run out in the team as well. I don't know, dare I say it, Lammers. But I suppose Cantwell didn't play in the Thursday night game, so Cantwell should probably be ready to go again, I would imagine. But I can't see him wanting to tweak it too much now. I think he wanted to be keeping the feel-good factor going.
I hope you're not suggesting Lammers in midfield again next to Lundstrom after last week. It was a wild shout.
I know. And John Suter didn't make it into that centre of the midfield either. I know. But at least the other one came up, Big Sterling.
He turned up. No, for tomorrow, I reckon maybe 1 or 2. And James mentioned Ross McCausland. I think that's maybe one that you might see him getting a rest. And whether it be a Matondo or a Scott Wright coming in. And then potentially one change in defence. But I'm unsure if that will be Balogun out and maybe Davies in, or if Yilmaz gets in or they had a Barisic. I think that's probably the only 2 changes that I can see, and the rest pretty much picks itself. And the players will probably want to keep going as well. The ones that have played these games, they'll want to keep the momentum going as well. But obviously, you need to take into consideration fitness and the legs. And as James said, McCausland run out of legs a wee bit in that game in the final. So that's probably the only one that I think could certainly change. The other one in mid defence for me, but just unsure what position, either the centre back or left back position.
Obviously St Johnstone have got Craig Levine and stuff like that. They gave the team across the city a kind of run for their money as well. But I'm hoping that again they come on and how he kind of digs into the opposition and stuff like that, exposes their weaknesses to the team. I'm hoping it's a kind of another controlled game tomorrow night. I'm hoping that it's, like I says, we get a couple of early goals, and like I says, maybe in the second half that's when we can really fully rest players and stuff like that and change it up a bit.
Yeah, hopefully we get a nice fast start. I think it'll be especially Levine. I think we might see a stereotypical, if you like, away performance in the SPL from St Johnstone. I think they will just sit deep. I don't know, to be honest, what they offer too much. I don't think they'll be as adventurous as maybe, say, Hearts were. We can just control the ball for the first 5-10 minutes, not even have to be too quick, just get them in that sort of into their typical low block. Hopefully we can then just start to pick them apart. Because like you say, we score 3 or 4 goals, also that goal difference closes quite rapidly. And nobody thought that would happen 4 or 5 weeks ago. So that's another, if you like, point we're starting to close up. But most importantly, just get the 3 points and try and keep things ticking along.
Aye, Jim. I think Bridgemans would be welcomed tomorrow night, especially with how busy the team has been, and hats after them. It's been so far it's been quite a grueling schedule, and it's not as if they've had it easy. Like I think Robert touched on as well, the park at the weekend, it was boggy and heavy and everything. I mean, and then they're trying to compete against a team that's sitting in as well. It is energy sitting in there, the new giant, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I think you made a good point as well, right? So I think that's where we've been guilty in the past seasons. If we can go out and start quick and maybe get a couple of goals up, maybe get 3 goals up not long after half time, it allows you to make changes. Too many times in the last few seasons we've maybe only been winning 1-0 and then nicking a second in 70 minutes, and you still can't really make, a big volume of change of confidence, because 1 goal these teams are back in it and they're just looking for an excuse to draw. So it's a tough one. In an ideal world, obviously football's not that easy, and you don't want to be too disrespectful, but if you can get a few goals up at half time, it suddenly makes the substitutions easy on the manager as well.
Aye, Robert, do you agree? Just like I says, hopefully get the job done early, and like I says, just rest the players, because like I says, it's not got to be long to we're at the weekend again for another game for them.
No, it certainly isn't. Hopefully that's the ideal situation, isn't it? You get early goals, and even if you're getting at half time 3-0, you wouldn't be worried if you was to make a triple change or anything like that, and just give players that have done these grueling games a rest and get minutes into the boys that are coming back from injury or not played so many minutes, and just give them a feel of the football. And again, it gives them a chance to go and impress. Like Sterling, for example, comes in obviously the Dundee game and looks not out of position, not out of part, and then continues it obviously the Betis game, second half, and then the final. So it's a chance for players that if the team is performing well and you do get the goals, that your minutes are probably going to be increased, or chances are they're going to be increased with the substitutions, and it gives Clement that kind of freedom to do that, and it is an ideal situation. But at the same time, if you're sitting at the 80th minute and it's 1-0 Rangers, you're hoping it's shut up shop and keep it tight and get 3 points and on to the weekend.
I have enjoyed that he's gained like youth a chance and stuff like that, and Leon King as well. He's in the squad. I mean, hopefully there's a kind of time that we'll get to see him a wee bit as well, because the boy's quality as well.
Yeah, clearly got quality, hasn't he? Maybe not maybe built or filled out as much as possible for the league to play at centre back, but I know some people think he can play the holding midfield role, but good for us. But he's maybe had a bad bit of luck that St Sterling's gone in there and sort of made that position his own, if you like. Suddenly that's Sterling's position to lose, isn't it? So it'd be good to see these players, but they've got to fit in the team at the right time, haven't they? You know, McCausland, there was a gap, a few injuries. Obviously, Lovelace was maybe seen as ahead of him. He was starting games before him and got an injury, but then McCausland's took that chance. Just about being patient. If they do get a chance, I think if they take it with his manager, they'll get a chance to stay in the team. They won't be forgotten about, but it's just as and when they get the chance, isn't it, with injuries and different things.
Just to let you know, lads, it looks like the socials and the Facebook page is heavily agreeing with yourselves. It's a heavy no. It's 94% no and 6% yes. So the journey is still ongoing with the looks at JM.
Yeah, it's fair enough, isn't it? I thought that'd be the case of the fans. We're always wanting more, aren't we? But it's good to see him, rightly so. But I think we should also we can enjoy Sunday for now until we get a bad result at some point. But it's good to enjoy, but also looking forward, isn't it?
Aye, mate. Robert, just as JM said there, it's important now that the team has gave us a wee bit of credit in the bank, and it's important that us as a fan base, we like the Mora. It's probably going to be one of these games. It's going to be a kind of a sticky game, and if it's not going as well the first half, then we shouldn't be hitting the panic buttons. We just keep backing the team and let come on and the team do their work. And I'm sure that we'll get the 3 points, mate.
You'd like to think so, but the expectation now is also up given the past two games. So some section of supporters will probably want the out the traps, get the goals, and put on a 10 out of 10 performance. That others will be happy to get the 3 points and down the road. So it depends what kind of fence you sit on in that one, how you see the game. But it is a massive game, let's be honest, and everybody would take a Bridgeman right now if you offered them it. So the fact that it will be stuffy, you need to remember that what's happened before. And I know I said it's in the past, but you need to remember how it's been in the past two games. And ultimately now, 3 points puts you 2 points closer. 3 points puts it the gap to 2 points. So you take that all day over the performance, let's be honest. So I think we just need to be kind of patient, as you said, not hit the panic stations if it is not each at half time. I don't think the panic station's sitting at all on Sunday. We knew the goal would come at some point, whether it be in the normal time or extra time if we went to that. And I'm sure it'll be the case again tomorrow night. There just seems to be a feeling now that as long as we keep banging on the door, the goal will come, and it can come from anybody, whether it be a Tavernier or a Dessers. Even his goal last weekend, last Thursday, was a moment of brilliance from him. That's something we've not seen. So it just shows you that keep performance level high, keep the energy going, and the goal will come, and the 3 points will be on the board.
Yep, exactly. Well said. Right, it's that time of the night. After the tune, I want to see the callers calling in and let us know about how he's got on Sunday, what the celebrations like your own household. Let's have a tune.
Every Saturday we follow, we cheer the boys in blue. The most successful team in football. We're Scotland's gallant few, though at times they have been hard. We've followed near and far. You will always hear us roaring from the stands in Ibrox Park. Every Saturday we follow to cheer the boys in blue, the most successful team in football. Well, Scotland's gallant few, who times they have been hard, will follow near and far. You will always hear us roaring from the stands in Ibrox Park. Successful team in football, with Scotland's gallant few, who times they have been hard, will follow near and far. You will always hear us roaring from the stands in Ibrox Park. Whoa.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
That's it. Come in and give us a call and come speak to the young team. Give us your thoughts on the weekend, thoughts on the game tomorrow night. I says just in the team overall, like what I says, it's good times at Rangers just now. JM and Robert. I mean, it's a time to be happy and show our appreciation to our team.
Yeah, it'd be good to hear from everyone in a good mood and a change, isn't it? We always get to hear all the most, but it'd be good to hear how everybody's celebrating and what everyone thought of the game. And if they do think there's anywhere we can improve, to let us know as well. But no, it'd be good to hear what people think.
Robert, bud?
Yeah, certainly see the callers, see what their thoughts are, how this pans out for the rest of the season. Does it give us a kickstart that we needed? Is this the first taste of silverware for Clement and his staff that they want more? And what does Clement now see for his squad? Does he now believe that this squad are capable, or does he need to still get into that transfer window a wee bit further?
Well, you bring up a good point, Robert. The transfer window, I think the injuries is going to heavily dictate that he's going to have to look probably for more signings. As it stands now, we've got Sterling coming in, kind of covering Ryan Jack's position. Raskin doesn't seem to be coming back anytime soon. That's when a wee bit quiet as well, the news on that. So for me, I think it's Sterling shut to the loss. I think Sterling holds that position, and if he's taking on the instructions really well after Clermont, and Clermont said in his press conference as well, JM, that he sees that he's telling the club that this boy's one for the future. So I think Sterling keeps the shot, and it's going to be hard for Ryan Jack to get back in that team now.
Yeah, I tend to agree, to be honest. And also, I liked his answer. It's an obvious answer when you think about it, but it's like, well, it's not a surprise to me because I watch him every day. And pretty much, do you think I'd play him there if I didn't think he was capable of doing it? I didn't just chuck someone in randomly. You know, I like that answer from him as well. But no, I like what Sterling offers, to be fair. And I think especially, in Scotland and in Europe, to be honest, I think, don't like to go back to Bill, but I think his strategy left us about a lot of pace through the middle and a lot of pace and strength, whatever. And I just think Sterling adds to that. When I'm watching that game on Sunday, some of the ground he was making up on players and different things in the middle of midfield gives you that physicality and maybe just balances out that edge. Because I think in the past, maybe other teams, especially away with the smaller pitches, have been able to match us with a bit of speed and a bit of strength, whereas Sterling comes out on top of that. So if he can just keep improving, I would have no hesitation of him just playing there for the rest of the season. Obviously, you don't want to be carried away. It could be a purple patch. You don't want to put too much pressure on him, but at the moment, if he just keeps playing like this, I've got absolutely no qualms of him playing there at all.
No, and Jim, I think that the thing about him as well, that he's keen. I mean, there's not many players that can come into a final and get man in the match. I mean, that just shows you how much he's been eager to impress, and he's clearly showing his quality in there. And I totally agree that we've been needing a solid central midfielder in there to help, like say Lundstrom and stuff like that, help them be able to, like you says, drive up that park, win the ball back. I mean, let's face it, he's, for what I can see, Sterling's a great defender as well. I mean, but if he can kind of move that into that central midfield role and be that kind of that cover, because I think there was Tav was saying it as well. Tav was saying when he's pushing up, he's got that confidence that Sterling's there covering for him. Jim?
Yeah, 100%. Maybe that just helps, a really defensive-minded player. But also, you just know if the ball breaks or when he does get the opportunity to carry it, he's more than capable of carrying it as well. There's not many people that are going to catch him. It's all just really positive watching him, considering centre midfielders at our club haven't settled in that quick. New signings haven't played a lot more games. He came in, a bit of an injury when he started, and then he's came in out the cold. Came on at Tynecastle at left back, came on at half time at centre midfield. And then got thrown in the centre midfield at Betis, came on again at half time in centre midfield, and then started a final. And he's not looked out of place. It's incredible, really, for he's supposed to be a right back who's a covering right centre half.
Mental, Robert. Like Sterling, I think it's. See, when you look at it, like say Raskin and stuff like that, great on the ball, can drive, but like I says, when you look at Sterling's build, physicality, speed, I mean, it's mental that he's been under our nose all the time, and it's Clermont that's been able to say that he's good enough to go and slot in that position for us.
It's a sight of a good manager, isn't it? Like when you can look at a player and think they've got the qualities to do the job in another position that they may not be comfortable with, but you obviously trust them to put him in these games, and then credit to Sterling, he's went and he's performed and he's took his chance. And again, when Clement came in, he said everybody starts with a clean slate. For him, this is his clean slate. He's come into the side. Giant said he's not looked out apart. And for me, the addition to him in midfield, Giant touched on it there, is toughness and strength. Now, we know that Ryan Jack and John Lundstrom like a tackle, but we've probably missed a real strong physical midfielder for a good number of years. And he's just a unit of a boy. And if you've got a boy in the midfield that just stands there and you're not want to run into him, let's be honest, you wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alleyway in a dark night. So he's something that we probably need. And as you said, he was right on our nose and we didn't know he could do it. So long may it continue for him. And as JM says, that he could be a puddle patch, but if it continues the way he is, then there is going to be competition for places. And right now, the performance he's put in, it will be tough for the likes of Ryan Jack to come back in, especially if he is fully fit. Yes, we're going to have a lot of games where rotation is key, especially in the midfield position. But you keep taking that performances into the next game. It's your jersey to lose, as you say, and by all means, Sterling certainly can do the job. And I think when you said there about Tav, he can go forward knowing that Sterling will cover it. It's just his natural instinct to be that defensive unit. And he did say that himself. His own words was, I'm not a going forward fullback. My job is to defend. So if you know that somebody in midfield is going to slot into that position, that allows Tavernier to get further up, and we know what he can do, deliveries or shots that can end up in the back of the net. So it gives us, again, a wee bit more attacking edge down that right-hand side.
I agree. Jai, I think that sometimes the boy doesn't give himself enough credit because, like as Robert's saying there, he said in a couple of pressers that he's just basically just likes to defend first and foremost. But the times we've seen him, he's been up the park and he's got a dig on him. He can hit a shot. He can hit sometimes a shot better than their strikers can hit a shot and go. So, like I say, I don't think the boy knows his own talent yet, and it's our manager. I think it's going to bring the best out of him.
No, he's definitely. Well, he had some hit on him that one at Ibrox, didn't he, when he hit the post? But no, he's definitely a. I mean, obviously, but it's not his position and that. Not seeing too much of him. Obviously, is he as good as a natural midfielder? Maybe when the tight passes and that come in. Obviously, maybe not. It's not his position. It would be unfair to criticise him, but he's also got an attribute of the way he carries that ball that I don't think any of our midfielders have. The way he can just sort of, if you like, almost an old box-to-box midfielder, he can just run with the ball straight. And like I said before, there's no one in that league catching him in the middle of the pitch. It's some asset, and I think maybe it highlights, not as I know we stumbled on it by luck, but we've maybe got to sometimes just play the league at certain times as well and just accept, look, he's going to match anyone else, apart maybe outside the old firm, he's going to match anyone else with quality in the centre midfield position, and also he's as quick and as strong as them. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be playing in there.
I think that's the thing, Robert, isn't it? Like, it's the SPFL he's playing in. You mean there's got to be physical moments, and he's probably well suited to getting in there to kind of help your team out. Because I think that's a lot of the time. They him to Cifuentes and Raskin sometimes that the day gets sometimes pushed off the ball. Raskin can be a wee pit bull sometimes winning the ball back and that, but that's his way. Big Sterling, like you say, he's a unit of boy, and with like. During 55, when Jack was on form and stuff like that, Jack was brilliant at slotting in, covering Tav, and hopefully this is maybe with Sterling's the kind of that balance again that we've been missing for a couple of seasons, that we can slot Sterling in to cover for Tav when Tav's gone forward and stuff like that, and have that confidence that the boy will be able to stop any attack coming down his way.
I know it is early days. I don't want to kind of say nothing get carried away, but for me, it almost kind of matches up to the way Barsi came on the scene when he came in as the left back, and then we put him in centre half, and he strolled it in the league. And then he went to Europe and he had some impressive games. Sterling done that against Betis. Now Betis had a top side. They've got Isco, for example, in the middle of the park. I know he plays a bit further, but Sterling wasn't afraid to continue his game against a team that just drew Real Madrid the previous weekend. So that shows confidence that he has in playing that position. It shows the trust that the manager's got in him. And as you said, that balance that somebody strong and determined to win a tackle is Sterling. You've got Lundstrom on the other side of him, who is quite comfortable going and collecting the ball, bringing it out, doing short passes, long passes. He's got a good recovery speed as well, let's be honest, as well. So it sounds like it could be a good combination. And I know James said there, in terms of quality-wise, SPL, correct, he'll match everybody, maybe not the Old Firm. I think he could. See that Old Firm game, I think that's probably a player that we need. Some tenacious, strong, powerful midfielder to dominate, because there's been a number of games previously against that lot that our midfield have been missing sometimes in previous games. He might be the influencer that puts a stop to their middle of the park, dictating the ball just with his sheer strength, his power, his speed to get across the ground. He's not going to be afraid to put a header on the ball, get stuck in, get a tackle. It sounds like it could be the beginning of a new midfield partnership. We've got to remember Ryan Jack's contract's out as well, so the longer he's out the squad, the less chance he's going to be there. Some obviously think that he shouldn't be there this season. That's obviously up for debate, But Lundstram again, he's another one that's out of contract. So Sterling could be looking at it going, there's position here for me to take, and he's going to grab it.
I think that's the thing, Jim, isn't it? That Sterling will be looking at, he's not got to push as it stands now Tav out the road for his position. So he's probably got to kind of grasp this opportunity and try and settle and try and make that position his own, because certainly, as Robert's touched on there, I think, like I says, we are needing that. Some of the Old Firm games, we know the Old Firm games are won in the midfield, and if you've got a strong midfield, then you'll be fine. And for the games, we'll touch on obviously John Lundstram as well. That John Lundstram's in there talking to the boy. I've noticed that in the past couple of games. Lundstram's been saying to him that like, get back into position or whatever and that. So between him, Tav and the manager, like I says, I think the boy will do all right.
Oh yeah, he's learning on the job, isn't he? His own 100%. I agree with that as well. I was just comparing to maybe quality on the ball. 100%, especially where he's playing. I'd have him starting in an Old Firm game. Like you say, he just gives you that energy, that strength, that bounce, and maybe a bit like I remember. Was it Carl Barkley that started one holding midfield game? I mean, got himself booked after about a minute. But what was Smith put him in there? What was Smith put him in there as kind of an enforcer, didn't he? Just to try and stop that.
Aye, he knows how to smash a player. Aye, that's it.
Yeah, that was it. Wasn't it? So maybe a similar sort of thing. Get a hold of midfield player. No, 100%. And you just don't want. Maybe a shame because of lack of players available. There's maybe more pressure on him that you need it, but a bit like he takes the pressure on, but he seems to do it at the moment.
Robert, I think the thing that, I mean, Raskin will come back, right? And Raskin's a quality player, but it might just be like the case of horses for courses, because, like I say, we've got Alex Ray in there. I would imagine he's advising the manager on some matches and stuff about how certain teams are going to be against us in SPFL. But like I say, Europe, like I say, that might be the time when to put the Raskin back into a kind of European tie, or I say maybe another kind of important game. But like I say, Sterling, if the manager knows he's got Sterling there to kind of slot in, even if it's a substitution to kind of shore up a game, or as he's in the SPFL when it's coming to games like this tomorrow night with St Johnstone, knowing that there's got to be a kind of physical battle in there, he's probably the right guy to get sent in there to help the team get out of the park.
Absolutely, and you'd probably think it seems very natural that a centre back could go and do that kind of enforcer that Jim touches on, that can go and kind of just be a presence in midfield. But as we all know, it's not that easy. You need to obviously watch the game, and you've got a different awareness about yourself and positioning and knowing when to go forward and drop deep for the ball, etc. So it's certainly an intelligent boy at a young age as well, to come in from the sides and take that position. And as you said, Alex, he wasn't scared of a tackle back in the day as well, so I'm sure he'll be giving him certain tips on how to play as well. But the boy's just taking it on the stride, and he's kind of the ones that is starting to perform under the new manager. Obviously he's getting the chance now to do it. Is it due to the lack of options? Yes. But is he going to go and make a stake for a shot? Absolutely. And as you said, Raskin probably will come back into the fold at some point, whether that be, it doesn't sound like it's going to be before the winter break, unfortunately, but when you've got two central midfielders out of contract, and then you've got a Raskin there, you've got a Sterling, a Tom Lawrence, a Cantwell, that can all play these kind of positions, then it is maybe horses for courses. But certainly if you're making the stake, you're putting performances in, your name's going to be on that team sheet before anybody else that I've mentioned there.
Aye. He's been, like I says, he's been one of the players that he came for the Chelsea youth system and stuff like that. And I think even the Stoke fans were up my arms about him leaving and stuff like that. So we know we've got a quality player there. And then there you go, our manager of the day's kind of reinforced to the club that he's going to be an asset for us going forward. You mean? So aye, hat after him. It's not many games like this. He's going to a final and end up being man of the match. But I think what we touched on there with John Lundstram, he's out of contract. I think Robert, the manager, touched on John Lundstram at the weekend in the kind of after match comments about his contract, how that both of them are happy about his position in the team. It just sounds to me it's just a kind of agreement that's got to be sorted out with the player and club.
Certainly seems that way. From what Clement was saying after the game, as you said, he was asked quite directly about John Lundstram, and obviously said that they've had conversations and they both know where they stand and what they want to happen. They said that something that maybe be resolved in weeks or months, but again, it's probably a conversation that the managers had and needs to have, but when the timing's right, decisions will be made and it'll be put out in the media or whatever that decision may be, then certainly the focus will be for Lundstram to perform the way he has been. I know he's had the jury out on him in previous regimes under the management. He had a good kind of start with Gerrard, kind of fell away, and then under Van Bronckhorst was out, potentially leaving, came back into it again. This seems to be a bit of a settled position. He's not, I don't think he's actually come off or missed any minutes under Clement. I think he's played every single game. So it's certainly a player that Clement trusts. He said that himself. So personally, given what we've seen in the past 14 matches with John Lundstram under Clement, I think an extension would be very well deserved and warranted. And again, it's just somebody that's come and took that clean slate and performed, and we know that he can be effective. As I said, his recovery in midfield to get back and defend, his confidence on the ball, it could just be that midfielder that we need. And if you don't renew his contract, you could look back and go, is that the one that we let go that we shouldn't have? And we've done that before, haven't we? So interesting times, but I would personally give him a contract if you're asking me.
Giant, for me, he's always kind of showing quality. I mean, I know he's had dips in form and stuff like that, but there's not been many that can come in and really take his shot that have kind of, I say, been able to keep a hold of it. Lundstram's always seems to be fit and available. Just kind of, depending on the tactics, he just seems to get lost sometimes. But under Clement, he's been a player rejuvenated, and I think come this January winter break, I think we could probably see maybe movement there with the contract, because, like I says, when the manager's happy with you, talking about you as one of the leaders on the park, I mean, it sounds to me that he's kind of trying to build a team run about Lundstram as well. Your thoughts, Jaya?
I agree. Since Clement's come in, he's obviously improved and got better. But I would also err on the side of caution of that is a bloke that currently, unless we don't know, currently doesn't have a job or an employer by the end of next season. That's somebody that we've seen at times also not play very well. And I personally wouldn't give him a new deal. Not just if it was just based on performances, and if you could just give player another year to play, and it could all be nice. But we've seen before it doesn't work like that. He's going to want minimum of probably a 3-year deal with an option of an extension to 4 years. That'll make him just, he's going to be 30 years old, I think, in February. That's going to have him at us till we're 34. With respect to the blokes, you got to look at set-on value. He's no Stephen Davis. His game relies on energy, tackling, bite. I think if you're looking to improve and you want to get your team better, I don't think we want John Lundstram with us for another 4 years.
Interesting, mate. I'll just got Croatia because I think we've been joined with Angus. See you there, mate?
Yes, good evening, guys. How are we all tonight?
Brilliant, mate. Thanks for joining the young team tonight. How are you feeling, mate, about the weekend and what it says the game tomorrow night?
In regards to the weekend, I was relieved and ecstatic after the end of the game. And yes, but back to business for tomorrow night. And, it's vital we get the win.
Yeah, but what kind of impressed you at the weekend, mate? What was the kind of the standout thing for you?
I think at the weekend, just getting it over the line, it's never going to be pretty, but you know what? They stuck in the game and they got the result in the end.
Were you surprised that we've kind of hopefully put that to bed, Angus, about the being bottle merchants and stuff like that when the big moments come? Especially, like I says, with a kind of weakened team that we're getting hot with now with injuries and stuff like that. It's for a lot of me, it was a lot of the old guard that was still there. Lundstrom, Tav, Golson, Borner to a certain extent as well, even Balogun. Like I says, a lot of them have been able to now lift the League Cup and probably prove some of the doubters wrong again.
Yeah, I think there's been a big change in the sort of narrative, because I feel as if personally I'm on a bit of a roller coaster with regard to some of the senior players, because you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I'm going to give them a bit of credit, because we all desperately wanted that win on Sunday, and they almost like an old Watersmith style team. We just did enough and made sure that the cup came back to Ibrox.
I will say, but that was the thing, Jay. I meant it. It's the last time was Walter Smith, wasn't it? It's so long ago, and Clermont's just been on the door and been able to grab it and rejuvenate a team and make them winners again, basically.
Yeah, 100%. And when you go back, really, when was the last time we won a competitive final really, really convincingly? I'm just trying, like, when you think of finals, Falkirk 1-0 with a Novo volley, and it took us Dundee United once on penalties. I know they might be Scottish Cups and different things, but it's very, very rare you just get the cruiser final, isn't it? And I think there's been maybe fans have maybe been a bit too critical of the performance. It's fair enough to say that it wasn't a great performance, but it was a cup final, wasn't it? And it was just there to be won. And it's great to see that the players have got that type of mentality.
Angus, would you say it was a kind of Walter Smith performance? It was one of the kind of grinding out results, but it was one of the ones that I didn't feel as though we're going to lose it, but I was just kind of waiting for the moment to harm. And Smith always seemed to get these 1-0s and get us always early line. And I see kind of small similarities with Clermont as well, that he knows how to get the job done.
Yeah, see, watching the game, on TV live, the nerves are going through and the heart rate and the blood pressure's up. But see, when I watched the game again a second time, and when you watch it, we didn't really get that much trouble. Aberdeen really didn't pose too many problems, and I think that we learnt a lot from the sort of Miofsky and the way he played and how he ran on to knock-ons. I thought Balogun and Golson were very good, and we totally snuffed that out. So looking back, I think it was a wee bit more comfortable than it was when watching it.
Aye, true. Robert, were you watching it from behind the couch sometimes, mate?
No, as Angus says there was nerves at times, but for me, I was actually more nervous on Thursday night than I was on Sunday. And just when Angus touches on there about Golson and Balogun dealing with the long ball from Miofsky, that's what caught us out at Pataudry. The goal over the top between the two centre-halves, and we seem to have learned from that, which was pleasing to see that there was an issue, it was addressed against the same opponents that wasn't that long ago. That it happened, obviously, Aberdeen, and then it happened again with Dundee. So there was certainly an issue there, and Clermont addressed that. That was pleasing to see. But no, I wasn't really nervous, although it wasn't the greatest of cup finals, and wasn't a spectacular kind of viewing. It was never behind the seat moments. It was just, as I said, an air of confidence that the goal would come. And obviously the skipper steps up, as it has done in the past, at big times in big games. I know he still gets a lot of stick for his defending and whatnot, but you can't take away the importance of the goals he scored. And let's not be fair, the finish as well was quite a great finish from Tav. The touch on that surface, and then to put the ball kind of that low, using the surface to get it away from the keeper. Then it's an exquisite finish, and if it's a striker, you're rubbing your hands going, great finish. So no nerves, just the confidence. I think that comes from, as Angus says, the narrative and the mentality that Clermont's installed in these players.
Mm-hmm. Angus, you want to come back in there, mate?
Yeah, I was just going to highlight as well, I really enjoyed today listening to Clermont on the sort of press conference and how in depth he goes, and you just know we have a proper manager, and that's no disrespect to say Van Bronckhorst or Gerrard or guys like that, but Clement is just absolute class. I think he knows how to deal. He's a man manager. He knows how to deal with players, and you can see that they're responding to him.
No, well said, mate. Well said. Right, we're reaching the kind of last half hour of the show, so give us a call 0141 356 1972. Come and join Angus and the rest of the gang and give us your points. Like I say, Angus is on telling us about his thoughts about the weekend and stuff like that, and how he's happy with the manager. It'd be good to hear everybody else as well, how they're feeling about everything that's going on at Rangers. Angus, the manager's pressers have been very, very steady, and he only gives wee snippets to them. I think he's put a lot of them in their place about the injuries as well. I think he's kind of only giving them what they really need to know now. And again, he's very, very complimentary of the team, because he's obviously harked back to how the press have kind of written the team off, and now he's like, the belief's always been there. I've just had to show them.
Oh yeah, I think that's a huge credit when you think of the state we were in after the Aris Limassol game away from home, and then obviously losing at home to Aberdeen, and in the space of 10 weeks to sort of change how the supporters feel about players, and then to think that with watching fantastic scenes at the end of the game at Hampden and seeing your manager and the players with all the fans, especially when he went in with the Union Bears, you're just thinking, he's a brilliant manager.
Aye. JM, do you know what I'm impressed with the manager is? He's able to come in and work with players, even his background team. By the way, I just want to give a wee mention to the background team, like say Alex Ray, and I don't even want to pronounce the number 2, but like I say, the boys in the background have been doing a fantastic job along with the manager as well, JM.
Yeah, they all seem to be contributing, don't they, and doing a great job. Fair play to Alex Ray. I mean, I don't think he would have got the job just based on his CV and his past, isn't it? But it's obviously shown that with getting a man who knows a bit about the club and a bit of bite, and Clement obviously really values him because it's been confirmed to the end of the season minimum. So that's good. And then obviously, as time goes, he might As time goes on, he might expand the team slightly. But I mean, everyone can only get pass marks at the moment, can't it? It's going so well.
Aye, Robert, that's the thing. Like say Alex Ray and the rest of the coaching team, they're just quietly going about their business. They're not really. I mean, even at the weekend there, you didn't see like Alex Ray getting out doing interviews and all the rest of it. They're just keeping themselves to themselves and keeping the focus. And I think I seen when the players went to visit the kids at the hospital and stuff like that. I seen Alex Ray with Lammers quite a bit as well, and I imagine he's saying about the team trying to breed confidence as well.
It certainly would be. He's obviously seen how low the players were when he came in as part of the caretaker staff with Stephen Davis, and how low confidence was, and the belief wasn't there that Clement's touched on. So he'll see a big change in these players as well. And as James said, for the CV, he probably wouldn't have got the job, but you wouldn't change something that was winning and getting results. And as you said, they're going quietly about their business quite often, especially in the League Cup or Scottish Cup. We see the assistants or other backroom staff doing the media, but it's all been Clement, and it seems to be that he's taking that focus on him to allow his coaching staff to do their jobs and coach. The name that you're trying to pronounce, is it Van der Heyden? It's Stefan Van der Heyden, is that right?
Aye, that's it, mate. That's I didn't want to go down a route we try to sound half French, half British. I mean, so I know. I think even him, mate. I think he's had a fantastic influence on the squad as well.
I think what comes with this, GB, is Clement brought in somebody he knew, so they both know how they work. So you're not having a kind of trial backroom staff there. Obviously, they've got Alex Ray in, they've got Brian Gilmore, Colin Stewart, who have been in the club, but you've got your manager and your assistant who have worked together well before, and that's installed again, and that will give belief in the players that these two as a duo have managed at other clubs. They know what they're doing, they understand each other, and once you get that understanding between the management and the players, it's easier to follow for the players. We know that communication was an issue. We know that belief was an issue. These two just seem to have a a great relationship, even off the park. You can just see them talking, laughing after the game, and enjoying the moment. And that's what you want to see from your management team as well. So again, it's just a whole collective togetherness and pride as a management team to be part of that squad that delivered a trophy for us, and they'll be feeling it as well.
Mm-hmm. Aye, I think
it's also good not to see a pair of shorts, isn't it?
Aye, and somebody sitting with a skip cap on all game.
Skip. Just seems to not be permanently just sitting on his backside the whole time.
Clement did have the baseball cap on to start. To be fair, I liked that. I liked that wee touch. Must have got it from the museum.
He looks good in it though. He looks good in it though, doesn't he?
It looks like an SAS guard on. He looks as though he's ready to pull out the sniper rifle.
Yeah, would it be telling him to take it off? Wouldn't it?
No. I think that's another thing where we kind of take our hats off to the board. See what I've done there? How he's been able to come in and actually work with what's there. I mean, we're not able to keep going out and spending money on other coaches, continually ripping up squads and buying in new players. The manager will probably get money to bring in a couple of players that he's got his eyes on and stuff like that. But I think the board will be really, really happy that he's been able to kind of come in and use what's there and like I says, try and save the club some money.
Oh, definitely. I think the Alec Ray appointment was a very smart appointment because if I can recall correctly, I think Alec Ray was the assistant manager with Alex McLeish when he was over there in Belgium. So they will have a certain knowledge of sort of Belgian football, and that would probably appeal to Clement and Van Hayden, that they've got a guy in the backing staff that has a bit of knowledge.
No, and I think it's probably JM something as well that we've been crying out for, is having that kind of Rangers man in amongst the coaching setup for a while. I mean, to be fair, I think even Gerrard was smart in having, like, say, Kevin Thompson kick about the club and Jonathan Johansson as well. You mean, so there is a need, I think, to have an ex-player who has won things at Rangers and knows what the league's all about.
Yeah, just tapping. Obviously, he had McAllister as well, didn't he? Gerrard, just someone Scottish game, isn't it? Known you can do as much research as you like, but maybe just the intricate details that you may not know about Scottish football. Whatever. I mean, maybe take Clement a little while to understand or try to understand why Aberdeen see Rangers as rivals. Little things like that you just maybe wouldn't pick up or obvious right away. Would be good to have, but I wasn't necessarily sure it was really important to have somebody there who was a Rangers man, but it's definitely proven to work, isn't
it? Robert, this gets that kind of balance, isn't it? It's having that kind of go-to, because like the manager saying in his press conference, I mean, English is not his first language, so I would imagine, like I says, if he's got any kind of private questions, like I says, Alex Ray will probably be able to kind of guide him and what to say, no to say, kind of thing, because our press, like I says, have been testing our manager in the press conferences, but he's been batting away a lot of the silly questions.
Yeah, has been. You even heard that in the clip we played earlier on. And he said as soon as there's a blip, you guys will go, "Oh, that's it. They've stopped the momentum. That's them. They're crumbling." He's already clicked on right away. He's a smart man, but he'll certainly use the knowledge of Alex Ray and the other backroom staff that have been within the club or know the Scottish game a bit better. But as I said, for me, he's a real manager that will quickly understand these things. And even the first game, you ask him about, what are you expecting? He knew right away, low block and not many chances and things like that. So he knew exactly what kind of teams you'd face against. Dare I say, it's probably similar to games that he's played previously with the likes of Bruges and Monaco when he's played lesser teams. But again, it's that understanding, as you said, between the management and the players, that he talks about the synergy between the fans and players. I'm sure there's a synergy between the coaching staff and the players as well, and an understanding that if English isn't his first language, as you said, and he can get Alex Ray to, dare I say, translate or kind of give him the jargon of what does that mean, then you can rely on him. And for me, Alex Ray is, I think I said, it was a kind of a smart appointment. It was a bit of a kind of left field one for me though, because he hadn't been around the club other than kind of media duties, but he had a kind of close eye on it that way. So he came from the outside in a way into the club. And then obviously, as I said before, he was with the players when they were at their lowest. So that understanding of what they can actually achieve, and they have got the quality there. We can see it now. They've just got to get that belief and confidence, which is certainly continuing to show game by game.
Aye, no, well, I will said. I guess, how are you feeling about the game tomorrow night, mate? For me, like, I'm really happy with the team's at, and I have got belief, but there's a bit of me that is a bit nervous as well, because like it's set up nicely, isn't it? It's a home game tomorrow against St Johnstone. Team's on a high. We are just hoping for them to go out and have an easier day, I hope, but that's not the way Scottish football works, eh?
No, we've had an absolute fantastic weekend, and I think Clement had mentioned, we had a couple of sprints, as he said, and now it's back down to the marathon. And for me, it's back down to business. This is our bread and butter, and we've got to give Craig Levein and St Johnstone respect, but also at the same time, let's go for it. Let's go out there and do everything that we can to get the 3 points.
Yep, and JM, as we touched on earlier, it's about getting a couple of early goals and trying to kill the game early, isn't it?
Yeah, it would do us all a favour, wouldn't it? Do us as fans a favour. We can enjoy a game, not as a stressful game, and then also maybe let players like Lundstrom, McCausland, who was looking a bit leggy, a couple of others, give them a bit of a rest going into Christmas Eve, because we haven't got an abundance of players to choose from. And the manager said in his press conference there's no one else coming back, so that squad's the squad, and there's not hundreds of options there, is there? So it'd be good to get certain players rested when we can.
Yeah, Robert, do you want to come in on that, mate?
Ideal situation in it, mate, to have that goal advantage, and I just said rest a couple of players here and there, but as you said, it's Scottish football, it's probably not the way it's going to go. But this squad have shown that if, as I said, that there's going to be no players coming back in the near future from injury. So the squad that has lived up to high expectations and delivered in 2 big games for us. So keep the momentum going, keep the run going, and hopefully get the 3 points. So I think if you're to ask any fan now, would you take a poor performance but 3 points tomorrow night? Absolutely, especially on the back of the week we've had.
Aye. I guess, do you think the manager has got to go with the same team, or do you think there's got to be this small changes in the squad tomorrow?
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting that in the sort of press conference today, he said that since he's taken over as manager, he's never played the same team twice. So I think he's probably hinting towards the fact that we might see 1 or 2 small changes,
I agree. JM, mate? You there, bud? Robert, mate? Changes for tomorrow. Do you think it's just got? Do you think he'll go with probably the strongest team first, and then, like I say, it'll be later on he'll make the changes, or do you think the changes will come first?
I think he'll go with the strongest team to start with. That's why I'm maybe suggesting maybe 1 or 2 changes. I don't think it's going to be wholesale changes. I think he'll obviously want to keep the momentum going, but at the same time, he mentioned it's 5 games in the space of so little time. So he will be cautious about recoveries, any niggles or injuries that may happen, or any knocks that have happened in the past couple of games that you'll want to ease up on. So I think he'll go with the strongest team to start with, and then have the rotation if the game allows it, obviously.
Yeah, of course. I guess you think that the team now are in a place where they feel as though they can challenge now for this title race. I would imagine when Clement came in at first, the team probably seen that as a million miles away. But as it stands there now, I think they know there's a bit of momentum there for them to go and put a stamp on this title race in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, JB, I was just going to say I'm very much old school. I'm one game at a time, and I'm looking on to tomorrow night, and it's a potential banana skin. But if we go out there and do what we can, get the 3 points, and then the other lot across the city will begin to feel a bit of pressure, and then we'll take the next game, and just one game at a time, I think.
Yep, that was the thing, Jim, I was touching on earlier. That it's, I'm actually happy about us getting rid of one of these games in hand, because it's hard, isn't it? Sometimes when you're looking at the table and you're like, when these games got to come round, because you just want them kind of out the road so you can actually see the proper points on the board. And for me, as soon as we get this in the bag tomorrow night, then like Angus says, the pressure mounts on across the city.
Yeah, I think so completely, and because the old saying, "You're better having the points on the board," isn't it? Well, I think especially now the 2 games, maybe just, but we get this win tomorrow, it suddenly maybe becomes real for them, doesn't it? That we're right on their tail, and if we keep winning our games, it's us that's in the driving seat. So it'd be good to close this gap and get this one out of the way, and then see where it takes us into the winter break. Because obviously we're not going to keep the games up, but if we're still within touching distance of that game in hand, it's only going to be one team that's nervous because we're on a great bit of form.
Well said. Right, we're just getting to that kind of last 15 minutes of the show. So that's as if you do want to phone in, please do it now and come in with maybe even your team for the morning night. And Robert, that leads me into asking you, what is your team for the morning night, mate?
Quite kind of picks itself almost. Maybe I'll change 2 positions from the weekend, but I'll go with Butland, Tavernier, Goldson. I'll go for a change and put Ben Davies in, Barisic, Sterling, Lundstrom, Seema on the left, Cantwell, Dessers up front, and on the right mid, I think you might see Scott Wright start.
I mean, I don't think you'll be far away. Jim, you want to give me yours, mate?
What we think it's going to be, or who we'd pick?
Oh, no, you've twisted it. What do you think it'll be tomorrow night?
Okay, I think it will be Butland, Tavernier, Golson, Davies, Ridvan, Lundstrom, Sterling, Seema, Campbell, McCausland, and Roof.
Oh, Roof's down.
I think the manager, make a little teaser from the manager, possibly in the press conference when he says, when he was asked a question about was he fit to start, he sort of turned it round, didn't he? Say he's not fit for 90 minutes, but it's up to me whether he starts or not. Maybe reading too much into it, but maybe not. You never know. We'll find out.
Angus Young, JM's listening closer. I didn't pick up that one about the Roof. All I've picked up is that you can't play 90 minutes, so it doesn't matter whether it's the end or the start.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point from Jayan that, I think we'll maybe see 3 or 4 guys, might not start the game, but they might even come off the bench and have an influence. And I'm thinking as well that Scott Wright will get some game time. And, I noticed that Kieran Dell was on the bench at the weekend, so he might be someone that gets some minutes in the second half. And obviously Roof as well. So, and I'm 50-50 between Davis and Balogun, who starts tomorrow night.
Because to be fair, that's the thing, Angus. Davis, when he's come in, he's no really put a foot wrong under the Clement so far. I mean, he's stepped up to the plate in a couple of European games and stuff like that as well. The squad is in a good place for what I say is challenging for positions, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's unusual to have that sort of good sort of defence where we've got guys like John Suter on the bench, and also you saw it. Balogun wasn't even in the Europa League squad, but yeah, you're right. I thought Davis did have a good game over in Betis, and I thought him and Golson played very well, but then Balogun comes in and has a very good game on the Sunday in the cup final. I thought it was very, very good.
Yep, Robert, that's the thing. They're in the squad's in a good place, and as the manager touched on in his press conference, they're all aligned. They're all wanting to play for they're wanting to own the one story, the one journey. He says that most of them are for what his press conference was saying, that they all know that they might not be getting game time, but they are part of the story, and it's up to them to stay in this story, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that, mate. And even if it is an appearance from the bench, and as Angus says, that they could be influence makers. You've seen, for example, Roof against Betis, he came off and scored the winner. So it's a squad game. It's not just about the 11 on the park anymore. It's about the 3, 4, 5 subs that you make as well. So even behind that, the ones that don't get on, they're still there. They're pushing the ones in front of them to be the best, and again make the starting 11 stronger each week. So I just, when Angus touched on there, John Suter, that's when I was going to ask about. We're talking about it's a toss up maybe between Balogun and Davies. You've still got John Suter there as well. You've got Leon King as well. So there's certain positions that, although injuries are happening, there's certain areas of the park that we're quite strong in depth, and some players that we know are a good high standard and quality for our club that they're just not getting a game at the minute, and it is up to them to be there ready and waiting just in case they do need to be called upon.
Yeah, I agree with the John Suter one. It seems to be John Suter, Angus, has got to be the one kind of covering for Golson, because the manager's no scared to pull Golson out to give him a rest. And I think the manager's doing it for sometimes Golson's own good. But one thing about Golson, he comes straight back in and he does give kind of solid performances, doesn't he? Sometimes when he's out that squad, the defence looks a wee bit more shaky. Maybe in time we will be able to strengthen and buy better defenders, but as it stands now, Golson seems to be a kind of constant in that defence and another leader that the manager likes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Given all the injuries we've had all season, but right now our central defence seems to be quite a sort of strong area where we've got guys challenging for the position. Because I think you said earlier on about Leon King, could be an option, and yeah, I think it's very encouraging going forward.
Said. John Suter, I think the manager even said in the Betis game that John Suter was one of the biggest fans sitting in that dugout. He was trying to drive the team on even though he wasn't involved in the game. That's what we want to see for the players waiting in the wings to get on the park. We're wanting them all aligned. We want them all hungry and ready, and no be taking huffs, no affecting the squad, no being any bravados in the squad and stuff like that, because like I says, I think we all, even the managers, brought the fans back on side with the players and stuff like that. And I says, if we're all pulling the right way, then I says I can only see one thing, which is success.
Yeah, 100%. I think Tav mentioned it, didn't he? That at half time, it was Suter. I'm sure he said it was Suter. He was speaking about the space at the back post. So it also shows that that they're constantly talking to each other and there's no divide there. And everybody says it. They've said it, haven't they, since Clements came in, that it's turned into the whole squad. Everybody's bought in. I think also it seems to be managed better. Like you said just then, he wasn't scared to rest Golson for a big week ahead and put Suter in there. I think in past other managers have been frightened to rest Golson because he's a mainstay. He is consistent, but you've also got to think about what that does to the whole dynamic of the squad. And I think this manager really gets that and understands that, if we have a successful year, we're playing between 50 and 60 games, and that should be plenty of time to keep the majority of players happy, because you're going to get knocked and stuff. So if it's managed well and if you've got a good quality of squad depth, I know every player would want to play every game, but you should be able to manage that better than if you're only playing, say, 38 games a season once a week.
Well, that's it, Robert. I mean, we're still in. We've won one of the competitions, but we've still got another 3 to go. I mean, and there's got to be opportunities there, especially probably I would say more so in the Scottish Cup kind of time there. Like say John Suter, I would imagine would be starting, and if they're in the dressing room watching the game that we're watching and getting a wee bit of insight to maybe the players on the park that they're something they're not seeing, then it just helps us get early line, Robert, and that's what we want. We just want us all pulling together.
Certainly do, mate. As I say, a strong squad makes a a stronger starting 11, and the best starting 11 gets your performances and gets your results, and we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. And as you said, that we kind of need that as a squad, from the goalkeeper to the front to everywhere really. Essentially, the more that there's an understanding and support from each player to each other, then there's a more squad morale, dynamics, collectiveness. Everything it makes it feel more positive, and it's something we lacked obviously under Beale, that the transformation in terms of relationships on the park between players, that it's clear to see, and it can only continue. And as you said, the only thing it can be at the end of it is successful. We've got enough free competitions to go and compete in. There will be game time for others, and for the likes of Sterling, McCausland, they've grasped the opportunities, and it's up to the rest of the players that come in to make a claim for a shot. That's easy to say.
Angus, one thing I do like is that the manager's willing to give any player the chance to be in that squad as long as they're showing the application that's needed. And I did like the wee bit he said that one thing he's promising is that the team that go in the park in any game will be the team that's proved it in training. Whether that's youth or, let's say, a guy sitting 36-year-old. I mean, it's good that the manager knows that it's about the team. It's not about the individual.
Oh yeah, I think it's important that everyone gets that sort of chance and opportunity, and knowing that if they can show it to the manager in training, that they'll get noticed and they'll get a chance. And I very much enjoyed celebrating over the sort of weekend, with the Thursday night game, then onto the Sunday. But for me, we have to sort of almost flick a switch and concentrate and give St Johnstone the respect, and it's back to business tomorrow night.
Well said, mate. Well, we're getting to the last couple of minutes of the show. Angus, mate, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for phoning in and put your input into the show, mate. It's very much appreciated.
Oh, not at all, GB. I very much enjoyed speaking to yourself and Diane and Robert. And, I was listening before I phoned in, and a very good show. And, I always use this line from Blue Star: onwards and upwards.
Well said, mate. Well said. Hope to speak to you soon, mate.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Good night. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, bud. Robert, final thoughts, bud?
Yep, as Angus said, it's back to league business tomorrow night. Been a great week. We put that behind us. The celebrations are muted for now, and we focus on tomorrow night. Tough game against St Johnstone at home, but let's get 3 points, and it'll be the last time we speak before Christmas. So all the Rangers fans out there, have a good one, and let's hope it's a merry, successful Christmas period for our Rangers.
Very well said, mate. JM, mate, your final thoughts, bud, as well, please.
Yeah, it was good. Shows up. Great to recap on a very successful week for us, and then look forward to tomorrow. Hopefully, it all continues to go as well, and everyone just keep supporting the guys. Be patient with us because the squad's thin on the ground, but let's keep it going and hope for a successful Christmas period.
Yes, well said, mate. I just want to say big thanks to Angus again for calling in. Big thanks to Ox in the background there taking the phone calls. Big thanks to Fox and Old School Blue keeping busy there with the poll in the Facebook chat. That went down well tonight. And a big thanks to you two boys tonight, JM and young Robert. Pleasure to be on with you, and again, thanks for your input tonight. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night with the other young team, I should say, talking about all things Rangers. Thanks very much. Have a good Christmas. Speak to you soon. Good night.